Summer is in full swing. Children are off school, the heat wave is coming back, and we as Christian singles who are unmarried but maybe in a nice committed relationship are asking ourselves, can we go on holiday with our person? Is it okay? How do you do it without falling into temptation or scrupulosity? And how do you practically set boundaries without making it awkward and weird? And of course, time together is so valuable, but you want it grounded in your faith and values. So firstly, let's be honest, travel can be such a bonding experience. We've all experienced this with family members or friends, where you really get to know someone in that day-to-day of adventuring together, discovering new things, and you get to see someone outside of their comfort zone. It's a great way to actually form and strengthen a relationship, a friendship, and to get to see someone in a new light and a new context. And yes, it can feel romantic and dreamy, and it can feel like a preview of married life. However, that's why it can also be dangerous territory if you're not intentional about it. Because don't forget that travel involves close physical proximity, potential sleepovers, relaxed schedules, and possibly tropical weather and shared sun cream. So instead of pretending, oh, we're strong enough to not fall into temptation, oh, it'll be totally fine to be chaste, or swinging to the other side of we must be completely separate at all times, let's experience this country or this city completely separately. The true sweet spot is honest, mature, and pre-discussed boundaries that are rooted in love and freedom, not shame or fear. So the question is, should you even go on holiday together? And that is something only you can answer. Ask yourselves, why are you going on this trip? Are we spiritually and emotionally mature enough to do this well? Would we feel comfortable if our parents, a priest, or an accountability buddy knew exactly the full plan of the trip? And please remember that just because something is considered normal or is common does not necessarily mean it is wise or it is good. So yes, while I know that all of your secular friends and maybe even your Christian friends are going on holiday with their boyfriends and girlfriends, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right thing for you to do. So it really is a personal discernment to see your intention behind it, and also the safeguards you're going to put into place just to make sure that you're not going to fall into sin, because holidaying together and being away together, especially if you're in the same accommodation or whatever it is, can be what is considered a near occasion of sin. You're kind of playing with fire. So you really do have to ask yourself and your partner how you're going to do this well, successfully, and if it is actually a good idea in the first place. Scripture tells us to be above reproach, and that involves avoiding situations that can lead us into temptation, or also any situation that can give others the wrong impression about who we are, what our beliefs are, or anything like that. So you may have heard me talk before about the sin of scandal, and that's basically when you normalize or make something seem normal or good when it might actually be sinful. So for example, if you're being very open, oh yeah, I'm traveling with so-and-so, we're going to Lisbon, and you're putting up these reels on Instagram of you two in the same bedroom or something, it might give others the impression that it's okay for Christian couples to share a room. Or it might give others the impression that maybe you guys are sleeping together before marriage. So you just have to be conscious of that. Be conscious of the vision of your values that you're putting out there, and also the example that you're being. Think about how you would communicate this to your little sister or your niece or your nephew, or how you'd explain it to the younger ones at church. So just really have that whole picture in mind, because there's definitely a way of doing this in a very innocent and good way, but you just have to think about, covering all your bases. Practical boundaries that actually work, tried and tested. These will protect your relationship while also allowing you to fully enjoy the trip, knowing that nothing untoward is going to happen. Because hey, if you're in Italy, the stars are sparkling, you've had some gelato, maybe you've had an Aperol spritz, your boyfriend or girlfriend is looking so attractive, they've got that tan, they're wearing that lovely colorful outfit, it is probably going to be hard to be like, okay, let's just, have a kiss on the cheek and bid you good night. It's all about being sensible and knowing thyself. Number one is separate rooms. Full stop. Yes, it might be more expensive. Yes, it might not be as convenient, but spiritual warfare is also strong, and you want to pursue your peace. So why not spend a little bit more money and invest in that purity, in that peace? And nowadays you can get really great apartment blocks or hotels where you can be in rooms next to each other, but just not in the same room, because you need to have that separate space, your own bathroom, your own bedroom, your own kind of divide, because otherwise, it might be like, oh, I can't sleep, or oh, let's just talk until 2 a.m. And all that that can really tempt you to going too far and to regretting that. So definitely invest in that. It is worth it. Separate rooms, full stop. And I know some of you might think, oh, how about if we do an Airbnb where we have our separate rooms and our own bedrooms and our own bathrooms? And maybe that's okay for you. Maybe it's okay that you're under the same roof. But for me personally, I would always opt for a separate hotel room or a separate apartment in the same block. I really appreciate that segregation and that kind of just knowing that this is my kind of space. They're not going to see me in my pajamas. I'm not going to see them brushing their teeth. I'm not going to see them looking super cute in their, I don't know, their morning face when they've first woken up, because all of this to me is too much like a mini marriage. So like I want to save that for, you know, if this actually is my spouse and we do get married, I want to be able to experience those things for the first time in our marital home. I want them to see me in my pajamas, brushing my teeth in our married state. So discern that, because I have heard that work for couples as well who've been very chaste and very good about it. And obviously that can be a nice option too. Number 2 is to plan your activities in advance. Fill your days with actual things to do. You know what they say about idle hands, right? And it's the same with idle time, especially at night. That is when temptation could creep in, you know, like, oh, well, we could just sit in the room and sample this lovely, I don't know, international exotic snack, or have a little nightcap. And that's kind of when you can potentially fall into temptation. So it's good to just have like a really good itinerary. It's good to have a full itinerary so you know what you're doing in advance and you know that you've got a plan and you've got structure. Also set after dark boundaries. Don't hang out in each other's hotel rooms at night. Decide what time you're going to say goodnight and then stick to it. You know, it's just a healthy way to differentiate and not to become one, because you are not one yet. Remember, to become one in marriage. The next one is to bring in an accountability buddy. You know, check in with a trusted friend. This might be a mutual friend or someone who knows you both or who just knows you, but let them know the full plan of the trip and bring them into your plans and let them know how things are going. So, you know, when you have your nighttime to yourself, you could just check in and send a text and say, hey, today was really great. We went on a boat, we did this, and, you know, just wanted to wish you good night and to thank you for being my accountability buddy. Just knowing that someone else is aware that, you know, you're there with your partner and you're kind of checking in with them. It's just a good way to have that kind of real life journal, to just be checking in and saying, hey, it went good, it's still going good, and things feel right. And of course, for my Christian couples there, you know, go in with a shared purpose and a shared prayer. Like, bring God into it. Start the trip with praying about your intentions for the trip, what you're hoping to get out of it, and that God can help you to act right by Him and to act right by each other as well. Ask God to bless your time together and to help you grow in love, not just for each other, but also for Him. If you're both seeing this trip as a way to grow closer together without crossing any lines, that is just such a beautiful way to view this holiday. And that is exactly the kind of foundation that's going to help you build a relationship that lasts. And remember that your love story doesn't need to look like the world's, right? Take that pressure off of you. You know, we want to model Christ's desire for us and the way that He made us. Like, He literally made each and every one of us. He designed each and every one of us, and He designed the family and how we should live really to be able to flourish and to be able to thrive. So try to ignore those impulses of like, well, my friend did this or my colleague did this, and you know, try and do it God's way. As I mentioned, I have been away before with someone I was seeing, and you know, the way that we really made it work is that we had that boundary of like, we're not going to have any physical affection away, there's not going to be any kissing, and we're definitely going to stay in separate accommodation. And that just meant that we could both really relax and know that we weren't going to cross any lines, and we could just get to know each other and enjoy the new experience. And I have to say, you know, I didn't end up with that person, but I have such fond memories of that trip, and I think we both really honored and respected each other. And you know, it's going to be something that we can both cherish as a lovely memory. And you know, it means that I don't look back with any regret or anything, because it's like we both treated each other with respect, and in a way that's also respectful to our future spouses. So there's something really beautiful about that, because it meant I was able to have the experience, but absolutely no regret or no unhealthy attachment to that place. Because also, I think if you do travel with someone and you're really coupley with them, and then you don't end up marrying them, that's quite hard. Those memories are hard to have and to, yeah, just carry with you. So do consider that when you are thinking about whether or not it is right for you as a couple with your boyfriend or girlfriend to go on holiday together. Pray on it, talk about it, and plan with purpose. Because remember that the best relationships are built on intention and not just spontaneity. So in essence, the answer is maybe it is the right thing for you to go on holiday with your boyfriend or girlfriend and hopefully your future spouse. And it can be such a nice way to discover the world together and discover each other, but just to put in those safeguards so you can really ensure that you are respecting each other and respecting God. If you found this content helpful, please do subscribe to the Salt channel, because we're always here to give you, our own experiences and anecdotes and insights, because we're all learning and we're all trying to figure out the best way to date as Christians and the best way to really love God and honor Him and put Him first in this crazy world of dating. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please do, leave a comment. Is there something that I've missed out? Is there a tip that you would like to impart onto other traveling couples? And yeah, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. God bless. Bye.